And welcome to Incredibly, your favorite show about superheroes. My name is Dennis, your superhero host. I'm here with Joey. I'm here with Uchi. Let's party. So we got an interesting episode today. Interesting, might be controversial depending on how you feel about certain things. We're going to talk about some top MCU movies. Not one, not two, not three. I guess I got to finish this. Not four, but five.
Just keep it going.
We're going with five. Top five MCU projects. Are you guys excited?
I've been excited since I pitched this today, and we had a really heated discussion on on what on canon or not canon. So I'm ready.
That was so funny. I was laughing. I was like, nah, Joey's professional. That's a professional word, and I like it. It was a very director-producer thing to say.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Thank you. But I absolutely understand Uchi's stance on the matter as a Dragon Ball savant that he is.
Yo, one day we're going to have to go deep into Dragon Ball conversations because it seems like it would be very therapeutic from what I hear.
You don't want to do that here.
Yeah, that's a lot. You don't want to do that.
Maybe on Full Power Podcast, but not here. I'm just saying, because you don't know, Dennis. Joey knows a small little bit, but it's very stressful to be a fan of Dragon Ball. But that's not what we're here for. So let's get on with these top fives.
We got top five MCU projects. How do you guys want to start this? Do you want to start this with the honorable mentions first or keep that for last?
Yeah, we'll start with the honorable mentions because, as everybody knows, there's so many projects in the MCU that there's literally, I think there's over 30 now in the span of
easily
15 years, however long it's been since 2008.
Especially if you count all the television series on Disney Plus.
That's right.
Oh yeah, right. So, I figured I'll start off with my honorable mentions because a certain Dennis does not have any, unless you changed your mind since this morning.
I have a lot. I don't know how many we're supposed to have, so I just wrote like all of my honorables.
I'm capping at 5 because I got 5.
Oh,
because it can span like
Uchi's
every
like,
movie.
delete.
Yo, I do have a lot. I mean, it's a lot of good movies. So
Right. All right. These are my honorable mentions in no particular order. These aren't my 6 through 10. Right. These are just honorable mentions that I thought deserved a shout out because of their impact on the MCU as a whole and on my life, and just deserve mention. Right. Ready? First one for me is The Avengers, number 1.
Okay.
Not number 1 on the list, as a number 1 honorable mention. Then I have Captain America: Winter Soldier.
Okay.
Then Thor Ragnarok, followed by Black Panther, and then this is going to be the controversial take of the night. I have No Way Home.
This fucking
on my
guy.
honorable mentions.
Oh,
you're out, bro.
God.
You're out.
What out of here?
Listen,
One of the requirements in the Incredibly employment contract was that you always have to support No Way Home, bro.
Listen,
that's shocking to me. That is shocking to me.
Because we'll get into it. But
yeah,
bro, your top 5
explain
better
the honorable
be good.
mentions.
Your top 5 better be so good. Uchi's coming.
I was gonna tell you guys, be prepared for mine, but it's not all bad. It's just not having No Way Home in it is bigly. But I would say that if it were to be on the list, it'd be number 6. So
I was just gonna say that, but
yeah,
okay.
sorry, bud.
Okay. Nice. Do you want to run through them one more time really quickly?
Yeah. So we got The Avengers, Winter Soldier, Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther, and then No Way Home. Spider-Man, No Way Home.
So all right. So do you want me to just do 5 of mine? Because I wrote down definitely 10 honorable mentions or some shit like that. So I'll just mine are obviously in no order.
Okay.
But these are obviously since we're talking our personal top 5 as the main, this discussion will lead into our live episode. So make sure you guys are checking out the live episode that's coming up, to discuss like, what the ones that we're most thankful for, the heroes we're most thankful for, and all that stuff. But anyways, the honorable mentions. So in no particular order, I'm just gonna like pull them out, right?
Yeah.
Shang-Chi.
Ooh, yeah.
Infinity War. I have Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Age of Ultron, and I will throw in, just so that we're not being the same here, Ant-Man Quantumania. Those are
Okay.
some of my honorable mentions.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay. And if
Interesting.
you had to pick a number 6, which one would be the number 6?
For my
Just 'cause
honorable
we did it
mention,
for Joey. Yeah.
honestly, it would probably be Multiverse of Madness. I didn't even say that one, but
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. So that's kind of funny because the way we're doing this, it's almost like, since we had honorable mentions, we're kind of like giving preview as to
narrowing
what
it.
our top 5 are, right?
Yeah.
So I think because Dennis didn't have any, he should start with his number 5, and we're gonna make our way to one. So we'll go all around, like your
Yeah,
5,
yeah.
Joey's 5, my 5, and then 4, 3. So
Okay. So because I am a great team player, I did come
Right.
with some honorable mentions. But let me explain why.
oh, okay, very nice, very nice.
But let me tell you guys why I don't like honorable mentions.
Okay.
And it's just the Ricky Bobby metaphor to life. You're either first or you're last. You either made the list or you did it. Like,
That's fair.
it's shout out to my kindergarten teacher for teaching me, like, you either win or you lose, right?
Dennis's generation, Dennis's
Yeah.
age group was the last group before participation trophies.
Exactly.
And it shows.
Yeah, exactly. We were like a tough crowd.
Yeah.
All right. So here are my 5 honorable mentions in no order. And this is MCU projects, right?
Right.
Loki season 2, Iron Man, Guardians of the Galaxy number 1, and Hawkeye.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Okay.
I like
Yeah.
your list.
Yeah.
Your honorable mentions.
Yeah.
I like that.
And
Yeah.
I think Hawkeye is one of those sleepers. I think it was better than I expected, and we got a little Kingpin.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I wish we were doing this during that time, because the fact that we got Kingpin in the show, I remember watching it weekly and I was like going nuts over the
Yup.
fact that we got him. So
I screamed so hard.
Dennis, thank you. Thank you for that.
Yo,
Yeah,
watch Dennis be like, oh, and the Marvels. I would literally be like, all right, I'm done. We're done. End
We're
the
gone.
episode. Just close it.
Yeah, so I'll go with those. And if I had to pick a number 6 from that list, Iron Man, because I think at that time Marvel was actually in the hot seat. We had some successful DC movies that came out, and Marvel really had to step up and show up with that movie, and I think they did a good job. So, and I think
Well, there was a lot of flops prior to this, because you had Daredevil, you had Ghost Rider, you had the Elektra movie that I think got made.
Yeah.
So, and they all were not commercially well received, to put it lightly. So, I agree with you on that.
so. I'll go with that one. All right, let's jump into this top 5. Uchi, we'll start with you, Uchi. So give us your number 5 on that list.
All right. So this is when we can explain, right? Obviously.
Yeah.
So my number 5 right here is Black Panther. And the reason why, Wakanda Forever, right? So this isn't even like one of those like cheapy, I'm going to put him on because Chadwick is dead. No. When that movie first came out, I was like, I didn't really know anything about T'Challa, Black Panther, the world of Wakanda, and all of that stuff. I had no idea what we were getting ourselves into. And I really learned about the character's existence through Civil War, because that's when he made his debut. And so when the movie was coming out, you know, I was actually really excited because it kind of hit me where I was like, this is kind of like a big deal because like we don't really ever have like these like big movies that are like blockbusters that have like an African American lead, and like it was so like authentic. And I remember seeing it and I felt like I was really immersed into that world, and I like got so much out of it, and they hit so many notes with it. And the story, the movie itself was OD. I loved it for what it was. And by the time I was done, dude, after that movie, I swear, everyone that I saw, dap. Literally everybody did that. It was like a
cultural
handshake.
Phenomenon.
Yeah, like it changed the game.
It transcended the movies.
Yeah, it was so good. I was like, damn, man, like it changed the outlook from a lot of different people from other cultures that were like, damn, like how come we don't have more black heroes like this? Because like they're like they can be just as OD as all these other ones. And like this is obviously not like a color thing, you know. I don't want to ever make it seem like that. As someone who's Hispanic, I've never seen things that way. I've always just been given what heroes I get, and I just love them for who they are. And so then when I get something like that, it kind of like makes me like, oh, like damn, like that is a pretty big deal, especially with Miles, because like, you know, Miles half black, half Hispanic. So it's like, and like hearing him talk Spanglish, it's like, dude, like this is what I fucking grew up with, you know? So like it definitely connected, it resonated with me a lot. But yeah, Black Panther, great movie, great actors, great story, great little twists and everything. You know, you had Killmonger, Michael B. Jordan in there, right, as well. Like it was just from top to bottom. I would, you know, even like, I know we're not giving ratings or anything like that, but like it's clearly in top 5 situation for me. So
I like it. That's awesome. And very classy and sophisticated, and I don't know, there was like this sort of elegance to the families as well. But still like creative. It was really good. It was a good movie. All right, Joey.
Good pick.
What's your number 5?
My number 5 movie is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Okay.
Because
I'm surprised, to be honest.
Me too.
Yeah. So this is, I was going to tell you guys, you'll be surprised by my list, but I not in a bad way. Hopefully, I think the No Way Home set the wrong tone, but it's okay. It's okay because we're here now. Sam Raimi is one of my all-time goats when it comes to cinema, from everything that he's done. From getting me involved with superheroes to begin with Spider-Man, to everything in between, to Multiverse of Madness. So when he was given the opportunity to fill in as director for the movie, it really meant something to me. It was incredible to know that, because I believe Kevin Feige worked on the original Spider-Man with him as like a PA or some kind of weird role on set. So knowing that he got to come back to do this and lend his horror background to Doctor Strange was exactly what I was looking for the fantastical world that is Doctor Strange. So that's just the one thing, right, of the multitude of things. Because originally I was going to put just Doctor Strange, because I thought that when the first movie came out, it was incredible. It was the first time that we really got to see any kind of magic in the MCU, and especially the way that they were able to show magic through all the CGI was just like blew me the fuck away, right? So getting the sequel in the way that we did, even though it was a little bit funky because during, you know, post-COVID and everything, it was a little off. But my biggest notes for it were the first time we got to see Charles Xavier within the MCU. Groundbreaking, earth-shattering appearance of the bald boy himself, bringing in America Chavez, bringing in evil Scarlet Witch, like real evil, like the actual Scarlet Witch that we know that she is. Getting to see her, I believe that's right after WandaVision. So that was wonderful. And then just the choreography of the fights, like from the music battle to America and Doctor Strange getting thrown through the multiverse by Scarlet Witch when Steven goes to save her, to the epic undead zombie Strange when he has that cloak
cool.
of all of the dead souls. Like, that shit was so sick. So
That was fire.
I loved everything about it. It was super campy when there's that scene where Steven they're talking about the Scarlet Witch, and we're seeing these scenes fade in and out of Wanda surrounded by all the candles and everything's burning. It's just very classic Sam Raimi. All to the zoom in, the single point zoom in, which people were like, this is so bad, I hate this. But no, absolutely loved it top to bottom. So it only goes up from here because it's number 5. So I'm glad that you guys reacted the way you did. But Multiverse of Madness, goated movie. Goated movie.
That's
underrated, I think, in my opinion.
That's zombie Doctor Strange was crazy. I was like, this is so cool. I loved it. And you guys know I'm a big Elizabeth Olsen fan, so seeing her in that movie. And shout out to America Chavez, Xochitl Gomez. My girl and I, we watched Dancing with the Stars, and she's killing it on that show. She's like an amazing dancer. Yeah, bro, she's amazing. Cool. She's really good.
I had no idea. I'm excited to see her again soon. Maybe Young Avengers?
You don't need that, but yeah. I'm excited to see her either way.
Yeah.
All right,
Dennis.
My number 5. Let's go with it. Where is it? My number 5 is Spider-Man No Way Home. That's my number 5. So it's in my top 5 for a couple of reasons. I think this was the best surprise and the best movie theater experience that I had with any MCU movie. I'm talking people were screaming, cheering, gasping for air. It was pretty nuts. It was just crazy. The surprise element to me was just so much fun. And it was also nostalgic, right? With Garfield's character giving him closure to what happened in his movie. I mean, people were cheering for that part as well. So it was like full circle. It was just really, really good. It's not a perfect movie, if I'm honest. If I put in my critic hat, it's not a perfect movie.
Yeah, there was no Batman.
I don't think it was. There was no exactly.
You said it.
There was no Batman, and I don't think it was meant to be a perfect movie. I think it was meant to be a movie for us. And for that, I give him respect and a big thank you. And it was just so good. And also for me, it also like validated that Tom Holland, for me, is the right Spider-Man. As much as I love Tobey, but he's the one. His voice, his look, his mannerism, everything. He is Spider-Man. And so that's my number 5. Great movie. Not perfect, but memorable. And I'll take that any day.
Absolutely was a love letter to the fans, because that was, that was literally one thing we've been begging for, was not only Toby, but Andrew to come back as well. And it really was like it was an Andrew renaissance, because everybody around that time was like, you know what? His movies weren't that bad. And everybody was just like started gushing about how much they loved his movies. So wonderful to see. That's a good number 5. You know, if it wasn't for only having 5, might have made it.
But yeah, you threw a curveball there.
Sorry, guys.
I'll keep going. I'll go with my number 4, and then we'll kick it back to you guys. Number 4 for me is Endgame. That's my number 4 movie. So it might get interesting. Top 3 might get interesting.
I'll do this. I also have Endgame on my list. It is not number 4.
Ooh, okay.
I'm not gonna reveal what I got on my top 5 until it's my fucking turn. Like, that's how I'm doing it. I'm not giving nothing away.
Endgame to me was a beautiful ending to a story of years being told. And it was one of the nicest conclusions that I've seen to any trilogy, movie series, or anything. It was just amazingly done, incredibly complicated, but done so well. Like, a movie can get more complicated than that. And somehow they delivered it. They made it just work. And it was just crazy. If you didn't get emotional in that movie, something's wrong with you, bro. I don't know what's going on. We need to talk, right? That movie was just so, it was just so gorgeous. And the name Endgame is perfect. So that's my number 4.
Good pick.
Again,
You want to go me and then Uch, and then we'll just ping pong.
Oh, really quickly. Endgame
What you
had
got?
one cool thing too, which is Captain America with his shield and Thor's hammer, the Mjolnir, or however you say it.
Mjolnir.
It's really well. Mjolnir. And man, just seeing him catch that hammer with the shield, bro. Whoo.
He
That
called
was a
down
vibe.
lightning.
Oh,
I could watch that shit all day
So
on
good.
repeat.
I
Me
can do this
too.
all day.
I do this all day. Yes, sir. You said it. I should have said that.
All right.
It's all good.
Joey,
All right.
number 4.
My number 4 is 3 movies in one because I could only no, hear me out.
Wait, what?
Because
Oh, wait,
listen, no,
Uchi got the YouTube
hold on,
face.
wait. Listen. My number 4 is Guardians of the Galaxy 3 because I could not put all 3 on the list. So my number 4 is
Okay.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3, okay? Because to me, it was the perfect culmination and the perfect ending to the trilogy. There is not a better trilogy, in my opinion, in cinema than Guardians of the Galaxy 3. James Gunn is... well, that's why Multiverse of Madness... Or not Multiverse of Madness. That's why No Way Home is number 6 and Guardians is number 4.
I think I saw Uchi's soul leave his body and
It
it just
absolutely did. It did.
came right back.
Yeah. It did.
That's
Hear
an
me out.
interesting pick.
Hear me out.
Guardians of the
Really.
Galaxy is great.
Yeah. It when Guardians came out, it really changed my perspective on movies and on music because I believe, and I speak for myself, but I feel like I speak for a lot of kids my age, so 28, who may not have had like an older sibling or parents that were really into music. Guardians opened up the doors to so many young people to this massive world of music that they had no idea about. From ooga chaka, ooga chaka, ooga. We're gonna get flagged, but there's like, it was perfect, and it was such a good way to introduce characters that nobody gave a shit about to a world like Marvel, right? Because nobody cared about the Guardians, nobody really knew anything about them, but we cared when we went into that theater when we saw Groot and when we saw Rocket, and so Guardians 3 takes all those feelings that we've had for all those years and puts it to the test, where the film is centered around saving Rocket, who is the heart of the team, and takes us on that journey through all of it, even with the High Evolutionary being one of my favorite villains in the MCU, because it was just the most despicable person that you could have ever had as a villain in the MCU. It was a wonderful movie-going experience. I wish that Guardians 3 had come out during the peak of Marvel, because I would have loved to be in that theater with, packed seats like it was at one point in time. So shout out James Gunn, easily my favorite Marvel director that we've had. So very excited to see him cook in DC. So
Let's go.
number
I'm
4,
so excited for
Guardians
that.
3.
I like it.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question too, Joey. Did you know about Guardians of the Galaxy before the movies?
The only reason I knew about Guardians before the movies is I had the Marvel app in high school, and they started pushing Guardians heavy on the app.
Okay.
They had like every week they had like a free Guardians comic that kind of ran you through the story. But before that, no, I only knew about Spider-Man, Hulk, and Wolverine. Like that was that was it, like every other kid, right?
That's facts.
So
That's fair.
never in my life I had, like, same thing with like Shang-Chi. I don't know what the fuck that is, until the movie came out. Yeah.
That's cool. And the reason it's in my honorable mention is because I think James Gunn did a great job of making a group of superheroes not well known become known and make you fall in love with them.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, people loved Groot. People love Rocket. Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
And nobody knew about them. It was like a very deep cut in the Marvel ecosystem.
Yeah.
And they did good. Shout out to James Gunn.
And the heart of the story is found family, which I think is at its core the heart of the MCU. And I think that Guardians just completely encapsulates that. So if I could have put all 3 of them on the list, I would have. But so I'm only giving number 3.
But let me get this straight. I have to do honorable mentions, but you're breaking the rules, my man.
I didn't break the rules. I didn't break the rules. I got Guardians 3. That's the only one on
He
the
said,
list.
yeah, he said one movie, but he said if he could,
If I
he
could
would have
have.
put a whole trilogy in a singular spot. Yeah. So.
Yeah. All right, Uch, what you got?
I like
All right,
it.
so my number 4. So I'll preface this again. I decided my top 5 based on not just my personal, I mean, obviously like personal beliefs and everything like that, but like I just figured on what the movies did as a whole for the rest of the world. So my number 4 is Avengers, the first one, because I remember when Iron Man first came out. And then like Hulk happened, or whichever order it was. I always forget, but they both came out the same year. And then I would be like talking to my cousins, and they knew a little bit more than I did at the time. And especially my older cousin, who's only 3 years older than me. He would tell me like, yo, they're building up towards the Avengers. I'm like, what the hell is the Avengers? And he's like, dude, the Avengers are literally like all the superheroes on one team. And I was like, oh, that's fire, right? So little ass me back in the day, hearing that, it was almost as if like, okay, things are actually starting to happen the way I would imagine it. Because when you watch the cartoons, when you play the video games, you always see them teaming up and like crossing over. And like I've mentioned this on a previous episode where it's just like, yo, we have like all these movies coming out where it's like X-Men's over there, Spider-Man's over there, and now it's like Iron Man's over here now, and then even Ghost Rider and all that kind of stuff, and like Daredevil, and they all have the Marvel logo on it. Why are they not showing up in each other's movies was something I always asked. So the fact that we were finally getting something that big and we're building towards it, and when you start in 2008, dude, 4 years later, 2012 comes around. I'm a freshman in college, all right? And I'll never forget how packed this theater was, how many people were in there, how everyone was looking forward to it, and just how it had that 4-year build with all the other movies that were a part of this. You had Iron Man and Hulk and Iron Man 2 and Thor and Captain America. And you're just like, yo, this is crazy. They're going to have all of them in one film. Like, I thought that for what it is, that movie changed the game, because this was the first big stake that everyone was put on notice, and everyone had to notice, because then you had people like DC trying to play catch up, you know? And it just didn't, obviously, I'm sorry, Dennis, did not hit the same. And like I specifically remember like when Avengers came out and I saw that, and that shot when they're on the streets, dun, 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 and they have the whole 360. Man, I have a poster of Avengers 1 still in front of me right now. Never took it down, and I don't even know how it didn't not fall, because I got other posters that's falling off. Same tape, but that goes to show you it's godlike, right? So Avengers 1, number 4 on my list.
I like it. That's a really good one. That movie sparked an interesting conversation with a couple of people that I know, which people were like, what do you think about the Avengers? I'm like, they're great. What do you mean? What do I think? Like, oh yeah, you like them? I'm like, yeah, I can like DC and Marvel at the same time, bro. It's the same reason why I like indie comics. And that's when I think it hit me that I think for the majority of the people in this world, when it comes to comics and Marvel and DC, it's probably fair to say that Marvel has the best superheroes and DC maybe has the best villains. And that's when I was like, these superheroes are definitely more interesting, more relatable. And I think that movie did it for me too. I was like, man, this hits hard. And I've been reading some of their stuff for a while, but it's a great movie, bro. Great one.
Big agree. Huge agree, even.
All
Uch,
right,
you gotta give us the rebound. What's your number 3?
Okay. So my number 3 is Captain America Civil War. Now, I consider this Avengers 2.5 because
It is.
this film was crazy. They had so much going on, and it was a story, a struggle between like ideas, like ideologies, right? Iron Man one side, Cap on the other. Cap realizing shield ain't it. Iron Man's like, yo, I'm just trying to put a shield over the world. And Cap's like, nah, if we all go down, we'll go down together. Honestly, that's head ass. Cap, you're fucking wrong for that. All right, I'm not gonna lie. But what ended up happening was an amazing movie. Like, I'm talking, they took everybody that we saw, for the most part, right, from Avengers, and they threw in some surprises and some new debuts. And one of those, Spider-Man. A very key player, a very key character, because as I barely knew even at the time, because again, my comic knowledge, even now, I don't really consider my comic knowledge that, like, you know, out there, but it was way worse back in that time. I had a lot of friends to rely on, and they were the ones telling me things and everything like that. And so I was told that, damn, I don't know how they're gonna do like, because like when the news came out that Captain America 3 was gonna be called Civil War, everyone was like kind of worried, because like, yo, how are they gonna make this anywhere close to what happens in the comics? And I had some friends who were like, dude, like Spider-Man's a big part of the original Civil War. I'm like, dude, I don't know, man, but like, you know, so far all these movies that have been coming out are really good. And then I'll never forget this. It was like some random day in the week, kind of like how it is now with how news drops. And it was like, it broke the internet. Spider-Man is going to be in Civil War. And then it was like the same week or something like that. And they dropped the trailer and he was on the roof. And then he comes in, screamed. I'm sure that alone changed how people looked at if this movie was going to be good or not. And that is why it was on my list, not just because of Spider-Man, but because of like how awesome that movie was, how crazy it was. And it even set up Wakanda, because it set up Black Panther, like I had mentioned in my number 5 spot. And like, you know, obviously set up Spider-Man and everything like that. But like this almost really set the tone going forward, because then look what came after that. That eventually led to Infinity War and Endgame and whatnot. So like Civil War is OD. One of the greats. That's why it's top 5.
Great movie.
Absolutely
Amazing
great movie.
Yeah. That's a good number 3. Joey, do you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. But I want to say first, the first time that I saw Civil War was on a plane with one earbud in, because you know how them plane Johns never fucking work. And it was still one of the greatest superhero movies I've ever watched in my entire life. Even like one arm like this, I was like having to lean to look at the thing. It was perfect. So my number 3 is what I consider one of the many, I'm going to call them, this is a improper term, because I'm pretty sure there are other things that are called this term, but a nexus event for Marvel. We've had a few of them. 2 of them are on my list. You'll see here in a few minutes. So my number 3 is Loki. Because Loki, I'm considering
like season 1 or season
I'm considering
2 or as a
it
whole?
it's Loki, because when they is the Loki project. I'm considering it all just one thing. Because of the way that they developed Loki's character through all of the years, the culmination of him being the big bad in the first Avengers, of him being the big bad in the original Thor movie, all the way up through everything that he's done for all of us, technically all of us, watching the trials and tribulations of him going through literal centuries to figure out how to save his friends. It was the perfect example of a character study done in the Marvel way that I could not have it on the list in my top 5. It may be recency bias. However, I think that the way that they executed the finale, because I'm not going to spoil you this, it's only been less than a month, was perfection. There's nothing that I would have changed about it. It was perfect. A lot of people didn't like the science jargon, but being able to answer the science jargon with fantastical magic and capture us all in with the things Loki said, the things Loki did, having it be at the end that he is who remains. Everything about it was just perfect from Yggdrasil. I'm rambling because I can't properly explain how much I just loved this series. But that's why I got it number 3. But I view it as a Nexus event because this is one of those things where it literally changes the foundation of Marvel moving forward from that point. There are other movies that may have not done something like that, and that's okay. This is one of them. So I am proud to have it on my top 5.
Yeah,
It's a good one.
I kept my list to. I mean, even my honorable mentions, I didn't even bring in any of the shows, even though like they are fair game.
Yeah,
but that's how like that would definitely change my top 5 because like Loki would be on mine as well if I did it like how you did it.
Yeah,
but
no, mine's definitely just like more of my vibes rather than total impact. But I appreciate the way that you have done yours thus far.
We should do series as another video.
I agree.
Or podcast. So yeah.
Maybe after Echo comes out, Echo, and then What If season 2 we can revisit
to start the year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
All right.
smart. Yeah.
All right, Dan.
I mean, I put Loki season 2 as my honorable mention and most likely my number 6 because just the way it ended. I couldn't have asked for a better ending. I got what I wanted and some, and so it was just really good. Really great story.
We've been with Tom Hiddleston for 12 years, something like that. And we've watched him grow the whole way, and he's grown with us, and it's just been literally, he's one of those people where it's like Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. Nobody else can be Iron Man. Like that's just what it is. Tom Hiddleston is Loki. We've seen other Lokis, but he is Loki.
He's Loki Prime.
Loki
son.
Prime.
Yeah.
God Loki, I think
Ooh.
is what Marvel is calling it.
God
but
Loki. Okay.
Loki Prime. Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Goat.
not bad. Yeah,
Goat
maybe
Loki.
the most underrated actor in the MCU.
Not anymore.
Honestly,
I'll tell you
Not
that.
anymore.
Not anymore.
as long as you see Loki, you're gonna learn. All right, number 3 for me, right?
Yes, sir.
Number 3 for me is Thor Ragnarok.
It's a great.
Ooh.
This movie, whoo. All right, there's a lot to talk about here for me. Let's start with this. Thor is in a bad situation, in a bad mental space, needs to connect with his father. He connects with his father and says, I'm broken. I'm not as strong as you. Dad is walking away. He needs to disappear, obviously. And then he turns to him and says, no, you're stronger. Woo! Bro, what a scene to see a broken, muscled God ask for help and guidance. And to me, it just hits so hard. And I loved it. All right. So then what happens next? Right?
We're definitely getting flagged now.
Yep.
Oh, for the beatbox? We come from the land in the ice and snow. Oh my, bro. Literally, Led Zeppelin wrote that song after they did a tour of Iceland and they learned about Nordic gods. So like this song was written many, many years before this movie was even considered to be made, and it just worked out. You see Thor falling from the sky in slow motion to like this zombie-like collage that is waiting for him underneath. And the lightning and everything, the slow-mo, bro, that is the best scene, or maybe one of the best scenes, definitely the best solo scene for a MCU character I have ever seen. I wanted to just pause it like at the movie theater, bro. I was like, go back, like please, like let it last longer, bro. Oh man, if you didn't get chills in that moment, I don't know. That just hit so hard. Yo, I went back to my barber the next day. I was like, dude, give me the messy texture with the little beard right here. I want to be Thor, bro. Like that, it was just so good. It was so good. All right, a couple more things. You guys know I'm a big Hulk fan. Hulk in this movie also shines, right?
Yeah.
the fact that he body slams and then uppercuts Fenris the wolf, bro, give me more of that. Y'all know I also like Godzilla and King Kong stuff. That was my MCU Godzilla and King Kong stuff. It was just so good. What I also like is I low key kind of liked Thor #1 because it was pretty funny. And what they ended up doing, what Taika did, is he took the funny parts of Thor and his comedic kind of like timing, and he took all those best parts from Thor 1 and then he mixed it into like a beautiful story. And that movie for me just hits so hard. And it was just so good. It's one of the most fun movies I've seen at the movie theater. And it was just so comic book. Like it felt like he literally took the comic book and just like somehow just made it into a movie. It was crazy. That's my number 3.
Good pick. Actually, great. I had Ragnarok on my honorable mentions for that exact reason, because it's such an excellent example of a comic book movie being a comic book movie. Because I feel like there's sometimes where we stray too far from the fact that these are comic book movies, so they're supposed to be a little campy, a little fun, not super serious. And everything about it, from the colors to the villain to Hela, just like literally getting to witness Ragnarok. I don't think Ragnarok has ever been shown in a cinematic spectacle before. I don't think anybody's ever even tried to do that. So the fact that Marvel was able to bring that to the silver screen was wonderful. And Taika, God bless that man. What a wonderful film.
And Loki was in it too. He did awesome in that movie as well. So it's just so good.
And
so
Valkyrie.
good. Thor's like, oh, I know him. He's my friend. Not this guy. All right. We're at number 2.
Number 2.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I guess it's my turn.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, doing the rebound thing where
Bouncing back. Number 2 for me is Civil War.
nice. I like that.
This movie. That kicked off probably like one of the better endings that we'll ever see in a series of comic book movies. So that's my number 2. Civil War. So good.
My turn.
Speechless.
I'm waiting to hear
I
this
was
shit.
speechless. My number. What, you
Uchi's
think it's gonna be
ready.
bad? You think it's gonna be bad? My number 2 all-time MCU project is Iron Man 1.
I respect it.
Okay.
This is
Yeah, I respect it.
it was Marvel's answer to, like we talked about earlier, everybody, all the naysayers, everyone out there. This movie brought my family together to go to the movies. 1. 2, it ushered in a new era of cinema, not only just for comic book fans, but for cinema, period. It wrote the playbook for what movies became after this movie came out. And it started the MCU. So like, I can't be too mad, right? Everything about this movie is perfect in my eyes. Even the CGI, I went back earlier today and was rewatching some of, like, just even the suit up scenes. Phenomenal. Absolutely incredible. From him creating the Mark I suit in the cave with the scraps that they gave him to build a Stark rocket, to, like I said, the suit up scene there towards the end. You can't beat it. And then the classic phrase at the end, I am Iron Man.
Right.
Cinema. It does not get better. It was like a return to form for Robert Downey Jr. after everything that he had been through with his drug and alcohol addiction. Wonderful to see him back on the silver screen. It literally set the stage for everything that we talk about today. Without this movie, there is no Incredibly.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
Damn.
That is true.
That's incredibly said.
Yeah, it is. So thank you, Tony. Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, I can't speak well enough about this movie. If you haven't seen it, well, if your friends and family haven't seen it, obviously if you're listening to this, you've probably seen it. So go get your friends and family to go watch it.
Facts.
It ages so well. It is. I can't speak well enough about this movie.
It's a great movie, and Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. is the perfect person for this role. He literally, like you said, Joey, he had an addiction problem. One of the best Iron Man stories of all time is Demon in a Bottle, written by David Michelinie. It's just like one of the best Iron Man stories, and it's almost like meant to be. Like you're dealing with this in real life, and Iron Man in the comic books in 1968, 1970 or whatever it is, like he dealt with that. And it's one of the best stories of comic books of all time. Controversy at the time as well, because alcohol was like a big subject at that time. Man, it was perfect. It's a great movie. And you tie it in with the comic books and Robert Downey Jr. and Tony Stark. It's perfect.
Can't beat it. Also, it brought us the 10 rings into the MCU, even at the start. So it's very cool that 10 rings basically started the MCU, and it's now probably in a big way going to be leading the next phase. I would imagine, I don't really know what's going to happen in phase 7, if we get to phase 7, but Shang-Chi being the star that he is now, being part of the 10 rings is really cool to kind of see that come full circle, even if it wasn't intentional, you know.
And for Robert Downey Jr., I hope he gets nominated this year for Oppenheimer for supporting actor.
He was so good.
So he was so good. I hope he gets it, man. And for us comic book fans, we'll be cheering for something else. Maybe not that movie necessarily, although it was a great movie. But I want to see him win even more.
It'll be him versus Ryan Gosling as Ken for supporting.
That's
actor.
Crazy. That's so crazy. That is nuts.
All
right, Uchi.
That's gonna be nuts. Uchi, let's go.
Number 2.
So my number 2 is connected to Joey's number 2 because of the character Iron Man, and mine is Avengers Endgame. That movie, just like how I was explaining with Avengers 1, was quite literally the culmination of the start of this entire movement that Kevin Feige and those within that power, all the powers that be at Marvel, were building up towards. They were really trying to put superheroes on the map and to just really become a part of the popular culture, and that would spread throughout the world, not even just for the US, but this is everywhere. And Endgame is everything and more in one sitting. That was like a 3-hour and 2-minute movie, and it essentially kind of wrapped up all the events that took place starting with the first Iron Man. So that much connects, just because it is Tony Stark that has that big hero moment, and his character quite literally comes full circle, and where he's the one that has to be like the sacrifice to save everyone else. And he came from being such a selfish dude or whatever. Like, he was all about him. He was a playboy, this and that. He had mad girls, hella cheeks, all that shit to go around. And now in this movie, he's a father. He is a husband. He is a friend. And he is almost like a father figure to other characters like Spider-Man, right?
To the MCU as a whole.
And to the MCU, clearly to the MCU as a whole. And with what happens and how, like, it was, the stakes were so high because we had just came back a year prior to seeing Infinity War, and that movie left us like, what? Like, out of all the films, that one had a really crazy like after effect that no one was ready for, and then that basically picks up in this film. It was definitely one of the most anticipated movies of all time, hands down. And when it finally came, and it made like over $1 billion, it goes without saying that this is one of the greatest movies of all time for so many different reasons. And it, like I said, it wrapped up all those years, like a decade plus worth of content and storytelling. And it set a whole new standard and a whole new bar, a whole new high. And I'm sure even if you're not in the superhero genre, I'm sure if you're a director or you're working at a company that's making movies, I'm sure you want to strive to hit those types of levels. You know, people want to complain about, oh, superhero fatigue this, superhero fatigue that. I'm sure if they got Endgame level types of movies all the time, no one would be crying. Either way, those people leave during the credits anyway, so I could give a shit what they think. Okay, so
Let them know.
Endgame number 2.
That's a big one. I like it. It's a great movie. Great movie. Joey.
No, this is. We got to go. Uch, your number.
Save me for last.
No, all right.
Save
Then
my
you want-
number 1 for last.
You want me number 1 then, and then
Yup,
we'll
go
me,
ahead.
Dennis, you.
Mm-hmm.
My number 1 movie of all the MCU movies is Avengers Endgame. Because of all the reasons both of you already gave about Endgame. Culmination of 11 years worth of cinema. Everyone was in the movie, but also everyone was in their seat, only using the edge, watching this shit in theaters. I remember Ryan and I went to go see it, and it was the most wild experience I've ever had in the theaters. I remember we got back to the car, and we were just sitting there, just like looking at each other like, Tony fucking died, bro. Like we were speechless. I'm pretty sure the car ride home after that, I would imagine that we were like freaking out, but I would imagine it's also probably like dead silent because we had no idea what to anticipate next. Like we could have never guessed that we'd be where we are now.
Yeah.
The movie broke all kinds of records. The cinema was never the same. Like I know that we're in a new era of cinema thanks to COVID, but like there will never be an event like Endgame. There may be, but like to the level of everybody was in the theater seeing that shit. Like I'm pretty sure both of us saw it multiple times. Like there is never gonna be another Endgame again, and that's why it's my number 1 because it was the perfect way to wrap up 11 years.
Yeah.
It was more so than just a movie, but it was a celebration of everything that we had all been through together in one final masterpiece, and it was perfect.
It was
Chef's
truly
kiss.
epic.
Yeah, I don't think like No Way Home was great and it was fantastic in its own right, but it did not like it was just a shame because it wasn't the packed crowds like Endgame was, and I think that's just due in part to when it released. But like, there's nothing that comes close to it. It's literally like the WrestleMania of superhero movies. It's the Super Bowl, like the FIFA World Cup of cinema. Like it just nothing gets better than that. That's my number 1.
It is the NBA Finals. I'm just trying to come up with other
Thank you.
sporting events that we can.
It is the lacrosse
World Series.
World Series.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
Because since we're on the end game, I do want to say that out of all the films that we got, I think Endgame was the first one that I actually cried, like multiple times in that sitting, the first time especially, and every time that I saw it afterwards, it will still hit me. Like and like obviously for like the mixture of reasons, like, you know, it's so sad to see Tony like die, and like it's like, but then at the same time it is so epic to get everybody just in that line, and you hearing the epic dun, 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 like that music, and Cap was literally fighting by himself, and then to have everybody just pull up in that ginormous shot. It was at that moment, and then as soon as he says Avengers Assemble, It almost hit me right now. Nah, Dennis, go. No, like that shit was crazy, son. That was a monumental moment, 100%.
Dennis, I don't know if you heard or listened to our Play the live stream last Friday, but we were theory crafting what's going to happen in the Deadpool movie. I don't know if you listened to that.
Yo, we're in a tangent. Don't do it.
And we were talking about an Avengers Assemble moment in the Deadpool movie.
In the Deadpool, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll talk about it later, but I just to calm Uchi back down, but also, yeah, go back and watch it. It's great.
So this movie, I had it at number 4. Uchi has it. No, wait. Uchi had it number 2. And then, the thumb went up again. Okay, cool. And this was your number 1.
That was his number 1, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. So it definitely made all of our list.
I think that goes to show. First one that did.
Civil War for me and Uchi.
Yeah, I didn't get that shit. Sorry, guys.
That was a big one for me. All right, my number 1 is going to shock you guys. Maybe I talk about this TV series a lot.
I thought he was about to be like Batman: The Dark Knight. He's about to troll the shit out of it. I'll be like, all right, then. Like, what's up?
So my number 1, I'll share with you guys after this break. I'm just kidding. That happens a lot on TV, actually. But, all right, my number 1 is WandaVision. I absolutely love this series for so many reasons. And now, after we got the Young Avengers news, Billy and Tommy from that show can also be a part of the Young Avengers. So we might see them even come up. So this show is just constantly bringing up pieces of it that could, lead into new stories and stuff like that. For me, WandaVision was the most creative, the most charming. It was also woman-led, which was great to see. There was so many aspects to this show. It was consistent. It was polished and detailed. And it was it just made me look at things a little bit differently. For example, like the love that she has for her family, the lengths that she would go for her family, for her husband and stuff like that. It really made me realize the sacrifices that the women in our life make for us, mothers, girlfriends, sisters, whatever, maybe friends. And it just hits a little bit different. And for me, it just hit a little bit different. And then you add Agatha, played by Catherine Hahn. So good. Just so good. I absolutely love this show. And of course, that show led into other stuff like The Marvels, Doctor Strange, so many other things, potentially now Young Avengers. It's just one of my most favorite things in the MCU. And I think for the most part, got well received. It was a little bit on the cheesy and corny side of things at once, but I don't mind it. I think comic books are a little bit cheesy sometimes, like Spider-Boy, issue number 1. So, yeah, I absolutely love everything. I love the music, the 90s themes, the 70s themes, everything, the wardrobe, the swag. I'm a big fan of noir movies as well, so I got a little bit of that tone in it. It was just so good. One of my favorite TV series of all time, actually, not just MCU.
It is a very good show. That show had me really lost, but not in a bad way from the jump. But it was executed in such a great way that it of course for me, especially when we get around to talking about the top series in the MCU, that's easily up there for me as well. It's a great show. Great time to watch it as well.
Yeah. I concur with you, Uchi. I didn't even think about it when compiling my list, but that's not because I don't respect it. Because honestly, when people talk about MCU television, they mention WandaVision. It's WandaVision, Loki. That's it, right? Yep. And I think Marvel did such a great job at really crafting a compelling story, but also a great TV show, I think, first and foremost, because that's what, a lot of people have been complaining about is that they can't write a TV show, but it felt like each episode brought something new. Each episode was so well written, and the the way that they designed the world to evolve from episode to episode was just phenomenal, and it really showcased how talented the people over at Marvel Studios are, just with being able to bring in all the different eras and also highlight how talented Emily Olsen is on top of it.
Elizabeth,
sorry, Emily, the Olsen twins. Elizabeth Olsen, absolutely,
she's so talented,
crushed it.
She is so talented, and it's and yeah, her role was super interesting because she had to play all these different roles from different eras, and there was also like this psychoticness of her too, like a crazy lady, because she had to switch on and off, and it was very interesting. The music too in the background when things were weird, the TV show would let you know that things were weird with like this high pitched kind of sound. It was just such a great show.
But also Paul Bettany absolutely crushed it too. Shout out White Vision wherever he is. May you come back
Vision
to us
Quest.
soon.
That's what we're getting, right? In the future?
I hope so.
Yeah, me too. I hope it works out. Uchi, we saved the best for last.
Need a drum roll. There you go.
So it should come at no surprise what my number one is.
The Marvels.
Wow.
Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion.
That's crazy.
Blue Beetle.
Yep. Just get it out. It's all right. Get it out. Let them know what's up. What all the other ones, right? Spider-Man No Way Home is the best MCU movie on my list. And honestly, like, I would have these conversations with other people, with Crystal, with other friends over the years, and like kind of try to like narrow it down and figure out, and people would try to convince me otherwise. And I just feel like I have like this different take, obviously, and I have this like different outlook and understanding as to why I would even put this movie at number one. Because like on paper, I mean, when someone sees a Spider-Man movie over Endgame, anything over Endgame is kind of like crazy, I'm sure, to a lot of people. But it actually goes hand in hand with a lot of the reasons that I even stated with Endgame, because No Way Home does something that Endgame doesn't even do. And it actually breaks the barrier of where the origins start. Because Endgame, it started with Iron Man. But with No Way Home, this is the movie that basically ended up being not just a decade plus celebration, build up, whatever. This is 20 plus years, because it was so many things in one. Tom Holland's third movie. But this was also, in a way, like, it was definitely it was something that was always wanted, but we never really knew if it was ever going to happen. And until we saw how Far From Home ended, at that very moment, when we saw J. Jonah Jameson, and he was menaced Spider-Man, like he was doing his thing. And this was before we got variants, right? Remember, this was before Loki, this was before WandaVision, before we were even introduced to that side of the MCU that we were then kind of really like getting towards. I had a feeling that this was our time, that we were finally going to get that one wish outside of seeing everybody team up and being in one movie from Endgame. We wanted the 3 Spider-Man to be in the same film. And the way it was done, the way it was handled, how it happened, the events that took place. Bro, we got Daredevil in that movie. All right, let that sink in. This movie did things that Endgame did not do. It, like I said, it broke barriers in the sense of on a storytelling standpoint, because obviously we've been building up to everything to get to Endgame. And we've been building this vast world with all these heroes and villains and whatnot. But then at the same time, we are gearing towards what's next. And what's next is to expand that even more. And No Way Home was the real first stake in that regard, to even push beyond that. And so you could call it fan service, but look, Endgame was definitely fan service too. I don't care how way you slice it. We got the most anticipated, probably, biggest surprise that they kept so well secret that by the time you sat there and then the moments happened when Toby goes through the warp, and then Andrew first and then it was Toby, I felt like time froze, because I was living a dream. I was literally living a dream. I was sitting in a seat and I felt like I was outside of time just watching this. And especially during the scenes when like they're up on the Statue of Liberty and they're getting everything prepped up and they're just talking amongst each other and they're just having that moment. I was like, this is like the greatest moment in history, because of everything that they're doing that no one anticipated seeing. I was calling it. No one was believing me. It happened. And like, I remember texting my dad and my brothers. I was like, y'all need to go and make sure you see Spider-Man, because I'm pretty sure the others are going to debut. And when it happened and they texted me back, they're like, I can't believe it. Sometimes I just be seeing things. Sometimes I be knowing things. But like, when you pay attention to the clues that they drop, and the payoff is this massive, it's beautiful. And this is literally how I'm sure a lot of movies wish they could be like. And they just don't hit. And that movie hit. That is why I put it above Endgame. That is why I put it above everything else, because it broke barriers. It literally did what Endgame couldn't do. It took a 20-year. It took movies, characters from other films that at that point were not even considered to be a part of this grander story. And now they were officially injected and deemed as what Joey put, canon, right? They're official, a part of that. And that is literally, again, goes back to what I was saying before about how, like, it's a dream come true. And we've all wanted to see all these heroes, cross over and team up. And this movie, if anything, if you didn't get anything that I just said, this literally gives you so much to look forward to going forward. I'm sure we're gonna come back to this conversation when Deadpool 3 comes out. Number 1, No Way Home.
That's a good one. No Way Home, again, if that movie was made for fans, that movie was made for you, Uch. That's
facts.
That's to me the reason why this movie is like top 5, because it was made for fans, but it was definitely made for someone like Uchi who loves Spider-Man and really, really wants that, that feeling of all of them together in one scene in one movie is just incredible. That was for the fans, 100%. It's a good number 1. And Joey left it out of the top 5. What is going on?
Listen.
What a guy.
When we do the top 5 comic book movies of all time, it's going to be Spider-Man, Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3. That's it. But I can't just be the Spider-Man with you guys. Although we probably could. We'll rebrand next time. But it is.
It's not already taken.
Right.
You should probably look that up.
This movie is the prime example of why people need to let this era of the MCU simmer. They need to sit with it. We need to let Kevin Feige cook. Man's been cooking since before half of y'all been born anyway. So you just need to let it happen, because if it wasn't for Toby getting the role in 2000, he probably got in 2000, played it 2002. If it wasn't for that, there would not have been all of this that has come from it, because I believe Kevin Feige worked with Sam Raimi on Spider-Man, and it has now evolved into this. It cooked for 20 years.
Yup.
That's like a perpetual stew type shit. That is like, that is your grandmother's recipe coming back that she got from her grandmother, who got from her grandmother, coming to fruition for you now. You don't get No Way Home. You don't get Endgame. You don't get WandaVision without letting this shit cook. And you just need to let it sit. And that, I think, out of all the things that we're going to say tonight, that is the one takeaway that the listeners, the millions of listeners get from tonight, is that no matter how bad it may seem, in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, when this shit pays off, when we all sit our asses in the seats and see Secret Wars and see Hugh Jackman with Toby, with maybe Robert Downey Jr., who fucking knows at this point, back again once again, together, you're going to look back on Miss Marvel and be like, that shit was worth it. You're going to look back on Secret Invasion, be like, that shit was still ass, but it was worth it. And it's going to be incredible when we get that moment again. And that's all I can hope for.
You said it. You said that we'll never get another Endgame. Wait until Secret Wars happens. That's all I'm going to say.
I say that because Secret Wars is gonna be different, but like in its own way. There's gonna be Endgame, and there's gonna be Secret Wars, and there's gonna be No Way Home, and each of them are all gonna be great for their own reasons. But Secret Wars is gonna be some next level shit. It's gonna be
that is literally all the point I'm trying to make. Like, they keep stepping it up.
When we see Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider come out with Ben Affleck Daredevil at the same time as Hugh Jackman Wolverine and Professor Xavier, I'm gonna literally die in the seat, step out from my body, and then watch from heaven the rest of the movie. It's gonna be next level.
So you need Ghost Rider to do it for you? Is that what you're saying?
Right.
No, but it would be awesome if he was in. Listen. If they can put his ass in the Flash, we can get him in Secret Wars.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like, listen,
that's not what we're here to talk about, but that's all I'm gonna say.
This guy, man.
Wednesday, maybe. We'll see.
Wednesday. All right. Do you want to run through your top 5 really quick, Uch?
Yeah, so at number 5, I had Black Panther. Number 4, I had Avengers. Number 1 from 2012. Number 3, I had Captain America Civil War. Number 2, Avengers Endgame. And number 1, Spider-Man No Way Home.
Ding, 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 ding.
Let's get it.
There you go.
Joey, run through your top 5.
I got number 5, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Number 4, all of the Guardians of the Galaxies, except it was only Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Number 3 is Loki, both seasons, counts as one. Number 2 is Iron Man, the first one. And then number 1 is Avengers Endgame.
Joey technically had a top 10 list because he...
Facts. That right. Like, he broke his own rules. Like, all right, bet.
Yeah.
Like, that's how we're doing it.
Listen. When you make the rules, you can break them yourself.
We don't make the rules. We will break them. On some DX shit.
Yeah.
All right, my top 5. Number 5, Spider-Man No Way Home, the movie for the fans. Number 4, Avengers Endgame, the emotional conclusion that you needed. Thor Ragnarok, it's all about strength, inner strength, and family. Civil War, a movie about friendship and politics. WandaVision, the story that I needed about love.
Damn.
Those are my top 5.
Damn.
Dude, Dennis literally gave his top 5 like a fucking Power Rangers roll call. Like, the movie of love, WandaVision, the movie for the fans, Spider-Man. Like, that's literally how I heard it in my head just now. That was actually kind of fire.
We might need to make a remix, like a dub remix or something. You know how they do? That'd be fire. Any last thoughts, Uchi? Any thoughts? Anything that surprised you? Anything that you learned maybe from us?
I learned how fraudulent of a fan Joey is of Spider-Man. That's what I learned.
I
Oh,
love
no.
him.
That's what I learned today.
I love him. He's my
Yeah,
favorite.
not enough.
He's my favorite spider-based hero. Doesn't get any better than that.
Right, number 6.
Uchi, what about-
Wait,
Anyways,
Wait till they see. I'll
Joe-
have to show everybody my Spider-Man collection of all my VHSs and DVDs and
but
shit.
number 6, this guy, right?
It's the only.
Get
It's
it.
like the only MCU movie I own on Blu-ray, 4K HD.
but it's
Blu-ray.
number 6.
Hey man,
But it's number 6.
yeah. Multiverse of Madness is goated.
That is a goated movie. It really is. I just that would have probably been my number 6, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, that was a good one. Joy, yeah. What did you learn?
Dude, I learned that. Well, I didn't really learn anything because I could have guessed all your guys' top 5, but that's okay. Dennis, I did in my mind I wasn't thinking that you're gonna pick WandaVision, but you talk about it on every episode. That's not a bad thing.
I
It's
should've
just,
known.
it's just true.
Yeah.
It's so I knew it was coming. So I'm glad that you got a showcase to talk about your love for the series. So congratulations, my friend.
Thank you. For me, yeah, I was shocked. I was shocked about not seeing Spider-Man. You got me, Joey. I thought that was going to be up there. That was definitely shocking. One thing that stands out with Joey's list to me is that it's very personal. Like
Yeah.
a lot of it is like about music, about, artists that you appreciate when it comes to directing and storytelling. So I guess that was one thing that shocked me. But yeah, this was fun. I think I told you guys I want to do the worst like movies in the MCU to get it really like boiling in here.
Yeah. That'll be post Thanksgiving. We'll have to do that so we can feel good about what we're talking about. And then next week, when the itis wears off, or we can do it when we got the itis, because then we're like, man, that fucking
movie
Marvels,
sucks.
man, that movie fucking sucked, man.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
I think we should. I mean, that would be a good one for next week, because naturally when there are the top 5, there are the bottom 5 or whatever. So that definitely comes easy. That's like a layup for us. But I'm also personally looking forward to whenever when we get around to trying to figure out the best trilogies.
Oh shit.
That would actually be like kind of, whether it's like in a tier list format or we just kind of like, I don't know, like we'd have to figure out all the trilogies, like all the movies that have had 3. And I feel like Avengers cannot count because they have 4. Because even though with Infinity War Endgame originally being counted as 1, but then they split it, that kind of rules it out all in all. So,
Or do you want to count it as Avengers, Ultron, and then Infinity War, and then Endgame, King Dynasty, Secret Wars?
Nah. Because that's the thing. Think about it. All the other trilogies, the way they've been written, they feel like actual trilogies.
Yeah.
Like in order to account Avengers from this whole Infinity War saga as a trilogy, you'd basically have to jam Infinity War and Endgame in one movie, so that way it can just count. But that's like cheating. That's like, okay, then that's number 1, boom, because it's fucking Avengers. Like you can't get any better than that, because it literally involves everybody. So like that's not even fair.
Yeah,
So
but there's one trilogy that beats it.
what is it, Joey?
It's the Spider-Man trilogy. Fucking
Oh,
obviously.
see, he's fucking, you hear this guy, Dennis? And wrap the show up, done. I'm done. Now he's trying to play up. Nah.
If it's all superheroes, I think you guys know what my pick would be.
The
Ant-Man.
fucking Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah, see? I
not
wasn't falling for
Ant-Man?
that shit either.
Batman naturally gives anything 10 extra points. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
Isn't Batman like the only DC film or character in like the last 20 years to have a proper trilogy anyway? When you think about it?
Yeah.
Like Superman had a
didn't
bunch of reboots.
Yeah, but he didn't get
Right.
Henry didn't get 3 in a row.
No, exactly.
Mm-mm.
He didn't get he got Man of Steel and he got thrown in with Batman, and then We don't gotta go down that rabbit hole.
Right. We'll talk more about it on Wednesday.
Yeah. Wonder
Well, we're
Woman might have a
thankful.
chance. Apparently, James Gunn really likes Gal Gadot, so she might have a third movie. We'll see. That's all the time that we have for you today. Do not forget to drop us a like and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Ding, ding, ding. If you're listening to this episode as a podcast, make sure to drop us a rating. Let us know how we are doing. If you want to connect with us, you can find all the information in the description of this video and podcast episode. We are professionals. Uchi, any last words?
Drop the seeds, get the tree. We have other important things to follow or like to say, so check the description. I don't got time for all the freaking buttons. Psych, I do. All right, here we go. Go ahead. Sorry.
Joey, any last words? It's cracking up.
He said yeet. It's just me, Oos.
So don't forget, on Wednesday, we're going to have a special live episode. So make sure you tune into the YouTube channel. Stay locked in. We're going to gobble content. Got to be careful where you go with that
Phrasing,
one.
bro.
And yeah, we lost Uchi. But so we're going to make sure we transition into the Thanksgiving Day to give thanks to all you nerds who keep us around and keep us happy.
Wow.
We respect you.
Wow.
We are you. Wow.
Wow.
we should start every episode at like wow.
Wow.
And welcome to Incredibly.
Wow. How proud of people.
Tune in, lock in. Thank you guys for joining us today. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Bye.
See ya.
Yeet.